Hello.
Hi.
I wasn't sure if my sound was working and I turned it way up. We're going to turn that back down.
Oh, so it was really working.
Hello. Hello.
Hi.
I wasn't sure if my sound was working and I turned it way up. We're going to turn that back down.
Oh, so it was really working.
Oh, okay. I've got two sounds going on here. Hello.
Hi.
Oh boy. I wasn't sure if my sound was working and I turned it way up. There we go. I have YouTube going at the same time and it's like delayed. So I was hearing everything twice.
I was hearing it too.
I got it figured out. I'm good.
You're on it.
I'm on it. I kept trying to make it work last year with a predetermined YouTube link, and it is like so complicated. And I was like, I can't just go to YouTube this time. But I like to have it up to make sure it's working. And then I usually put the meeting information in there. So we'll wait a few more minutes, see if Tahia pops in here, and we'll get started. Anyone that's watching either on YouTube or who's joined the Zoom call, you can find all of the paperwork and stuff that I'm talking about on our website. Paste it into the comments here. I'm terrible at Zoom too because I don't use it all the time, so you'll just have to, there we go, the chat. So I just put in the chat the link to all the different paperwork in there. So the financials are just the bank statements. I didn't have a breakdown of the ice cream social budget, and I just opened that. And the meeting agenda itself. So if you guys want to see sort of like what we'll be talking about going through, you can see that. It just got really quiet in here because I'm in my basement and that was my air conditioning, so it might kick back on again. Apologies. It's just the quietest place in the house without the kids yelling at me. Someone just opened the door too. So he is here. Hello.
Hi. Hello. I'm trying to park.
No problem. That's what I think the great thing about Zoom is that you can pop in wherever you happen to be, and I need that kind of flexibility. All right, well, we'll just go ahead and get started. If anyone has any questions, I'm going to try to look at the YouTube as well for questions. So if you're not on the Zoom call and you want to ask a question on there, or if you are on the call but you don't want to talk, you can write it in the chat. And if I happen to miss it, someone just point it out, we'll sort of discuss that. But I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Let's see, 7:04. Again, if you missed that on our website, I put it in the chat. There's a link to all the resources that we have, so you can follow along if you want to look at the financials or the meeting agenda or any of the stuff that we're sort of talking about. First up, we have the meeting minutes approval. We don't have any meeting minutes. It's the first meeting of the year. So It's exciting. This year we're running a little bit more normal. I'm not saying we are more normal, but we're running the PTO a little bit more normal than we did last year. Last year it was basically me and Tia, and we were keeping the lights on. We managed to make some money. We didn't really spend much. There weren't field trips. There weren't really anything going on that way. So we were just trying to sort of bank a little bit of money, and we were able to do that a little bit. So it is what it is. For our treasury report, like I said, all the financials are on the website there, but our overall finances, so our checking is $2,681.57. Our first savings account is $9,325.24, and we have a second savings account of $300.08. That savings account was opened for various reasons I won't get into with $300, so we have made 8 cents in giving us a total of $12,306.89 currently. We found out this past week that the school / the PTO here has an outstanding balance with Westerville Schools for the busing for fall of 2019. I had just joined in fall of 2019 as the communication secretary. So we were trying to figure out that spring if this had been paid for. We assumed it had been paid for. It had not been. When Mr. Leone reached out to Westerville Schools to inquire about field trips for this year, they told them about the outstanding balance, which is around $3,000, which we owe as the past PTO. So we will be paying that for the school. We spent about $280 on Card My Yard for the first day of school for the welcome back signs for both campuses. And I have a little bit more information on the ice cream social and the other things as we get down into there a little bit. I hope to have more interesting data points on the money. If anyone's interested in the treasury position, that would be amazing. So we could do that. I'm kind of pulling that together because I'm doing all the little things around here. So I was just pulling that together what I could. So it'd be really interesting to have a little bit more robust information for y'all. So some of our old business, our online t-shirt sales, I think Tia and I were a little bit surprised. We sold out of like all of our t-shirts. We set up for 3 of the 4 back to school days. Apologies for not setting up that last night. We just did not have like any stock left. We had very small shirts left, so not for the size children that were there. And it was easier. People were waiting in line and getting kind of upset because they waited in line and we didn't have the right sizes. So we just didn't set up that last night. We sold through most of the rest of them online. And just last week, we got new shirts in that I put online on Saturday. So anyone that needs shirts now, you should be able to order the new style. All the sizes are in stock as of today. I filled some orders, but we still have plenty of stock. T-shirts are slightly different material because there is a global supply chain deal. And so some shirts were in less stock, and we would have had to try to get 2 or 3 different brands of shirts to match and do the same thing. So we picked one brand that we knew was in stock. So they're slightly different. They're still a pretty soft shirt, and it's Bella Canvas. If anyone's familiar with that, they're pretty, they're a nice t-shirt company. They do a lot of stuff in the US. So, but those are all online. So anyone that needs to order, still need shirts, go online. We have it there. Navy and tan. Okay, I see this question, and I'll get back to that at the end about the shirt. I pack, and One other thing about shirts is that online is my basement here. Over to the side, you can't see, but I have a set of those big cubes and I have all the sizes of shirts sort of in there. Everything is pre-printed. So if you buy something online, it's coming from my basement. I'm filling the order. I've been trying really, really hard to read very carefully, but if I got in a hurry, I may have switched up the order. So I will look at Tia, your order here a little bit. I'm like highlighting. I'm like, I got to get this right. So apologies to that. Also with the shirts, I thought I would be able to sort of fill them as they come in, but sometimes we get like bigger orders. And so I'm going to try to at least fill them once per week. It's looking to be more like on a Friday. It's like when they will get to the school. It's a little bit easier too, because it's the end of the week. Then we don't have to worry about all that in between. So it might take a week to get your stuff. I have the orders. If you've ordered online, it's just, I'm doing a lot of things. So I'm trying my best to get everything in a timely manner. Dress down days. Tomorrow is our second dress down day. Our first dress down day brought in about $900 in cash. That was the money that we took to the bank. I think it was $910. That was a lot of $20 pay ahead. I have not yet looked at the online pay ahead. I know that we've made more online as well. But when I dig down into that online, it includes the whole order. So if people ordered shirts along with the dress down day, it keeps all of that money in there. And I wanted to see exactly the amount for the dress down day. So I'll dig into that at some point when I can if I can figure out if there's an easy way, or I'll do it, manually if I have to. But the pay ahead dress down day is gone, I think, really, really well. I think it helps parents, so you don't have to worry about the dollars, and just to get us some money up front throughout the year. So that's pretty good. The ice cream social, which was postponed till last week, was great. We didn't get downpoured on, but it was hot if you were there. Online, there is a breakdown. This is a kind of black and white sheet, but there is a breakdown sort of the costs of the ice cream social. Previous years, we've gotten ice cream, I think, from somewhere like Dairy Queen. They charged, I think, $1 per scoop. And I think we got about 1,000 scoops. And this year I decided to try just getting some prepackaged stuff, also with COVID. So we got the prepackaged ice cream, and also that way we were able to have some stuff too for the kids that had allergies and things like that. So we went through all of our ice cream. We kind of ran out at the very, very end. People were asking for some. I don't know if they were asking for more than one, and that's why, but we were very, very close to having the right amount on there. I did just realize on our ice cream social budget, I did forget to put in I'm gonna make myself a note here. Dry ice. So I did go across the city to get dry ice. That's why everything was so super frozen too. So nothing melted, so that was good. But if you see on here, we spent $1,037.56, which I thought was pretty good, even having gotten all kinds of other things. And then I've subtracted on here too. A lot of the things that we bought for the event are reusable, so we can use going forward. So that added up to about $447 of stuff that we will reuse. And then there was some stuff that we donated to the school. We had some extra waters. I had gotten some toys to hand out to the kids too, but it was a little too much. So I instead gave those to Mr. Coker so he could give those to the kids too. So we donated about $84 worth of stuff. After all of that, we took in about $107 in donations, just straight donations. And our water balloons, being in Mr. Coker with water balloons, Mr. Davidson, the kids loved that. And we made $254 on that. So we ended up only spending, if we do all the math on that, $145.56. So that that's pretty good. Again, in previous years, we've spent a lot more with the dunk tanks. They have a cost to them as well, associated costs. So I thought that was pretty good, and everyone seemed to have fun, and we didn't run out of ice cream, so I was pretty excited. All right. Tea and tissues. I didn't get to do the financials on that. I bought some boxes of tea and individual size tissues. I put them in little baggies and we sort of put some art on them. I set them on tables for the first day of school, one in the little kids hallway and then one in the main entrance. Usually it's something where we set up like coffee or tea outside, but since the bigger kids, the parents weren't coming in, also COVID, I was trying to make it a little bit more compact so people could just take those. We do have a decent amount of that left, but I'm going to try to repurpose those into teacher appreciation stuff, or just donate the tissues probably to the teachers, and then maybe do something with the tea for the teachers as well. So that will be donated, whatever left over will be donated to the school in one way or another. And again, I don't have the money quite on that. If I had to guess, I'd say a couple $100 was what went out for those. And those are just events that we usually do at the beginning of the year to sort of welcome people back to the school and just to start off the new year. And especially after last year where a lot of kids, like my kids, weren't in school, it's just sort of a thing to sort of get parents back in. So, all right, on to new business. I don't know, Janaea. See, I even asked you how to say it and I said it wrong.
It's Janaea.
I know, that's why I said it wrong. And I was like, right away. Janaea. Well, I told somebody my name the other day and then spelled it out and then they said it wrong. I was like, Michaela, and then I spelled it and they were like, oh, Michaela. And I said, no, Michaela. Okay. So, Janae and I have spoken and she has agreed to be our vice president, and super excited to have her. Did you want to say anything? I know I didn't ask you if you wanted to talk or not, but did you want to say anything to?
It's okay. I'll put the camera on for this one, but yeah, I just excited to kind of help out where I can. And like I told you, Michaela, is going to be a learning curve for me because I've never done this before, but I'm just excited to, just see where I can help out and get a little bit more involved in what's going on with you guys. So,
well, we appreciate it. We will take the help and I will get you going. When I spoke to Janae, she said her background is in recruiting, which is like, it feels so good to me because that's not my strong suit. So she's going to be sort of taking over like the volunteers and sort of recruiting volunteers. I've made a list at the end of the agenda that we can kind of go over, like what our kind of projected needs are going to be, where people can fill in. But I think right now we just need to reach out to people and get people sort of involved. The biggest thing is if you're on the board, it's going to be a bit of a time commitment. Right now, it's a lot for me because I'm trying to do a lot of things. Me and Tia are sort of spreading ourselves thin on all this stuff. So once we build the board up, it shouldn't be too much for each individual member once we know what everyone's doing. And for the people who are volunteering to do the other stuff, really, I wanted to sort of get into be like a well-oiled machine and like these people do this and these people do that. I am not like a control freak. I want whoever's volunteering and helping us to sort of, I want you to do this, you kind of take it and make it your own. And unless something really crazy happens, like I'm not going to nitpick that because I just think everyone has their strengths. And if you're volunteering for something that you know that you like and that you are good at, there shouldn't be any problems with that. So super excited to have Janae with us. And yes, I'm just like so excited to have some extra help.
I'm excited too.
Thank you. So for field trips, I have this in our new business here. We owe the $3,000 for 2019 field trips. in the past, the field trip money has basically been allotted $250 per classroom. Now, this was when we had much less classes, and I don't know if we had more income, or it clearly was not after a pandemic. But we have, I think, at the main campus, 31 or 32 classes. That cost alone would be $11,000. So I told you at the beginning, we have $12,306. That would basically wipe us out if we were to give that amount of money that we have given previously in that sense. For field trip busing, we've traditionally paid, and I'm putting this out here so we can discuss it now, or people can have their thoughts and then you can email me back. We can kind of think about how this is going to work. But when you pay for a field trip for your children, usually you're just paying for the field trip itself, and then the PTO has been covering the bus costs. Some teachers, I think, do add in the bus cost with the field trip cost, and then they used that money that we provided for something else. My thinking on this very recently, when I've been going over all of this, is two things. First of all, I think that we can't give that much money per class, and I think it's going to have to be a set number. So not $250 per class, but like we can cover $5,000. Or the other thing about the field trips is the parents are paying for the busing no matter what. So if we look at it this way, so either it's being incorporated into the price when you pay up front. So if it's a $7 field trip and it's $7 for the bus, basically, if we figure that out. So you're paying $14 for the field trip, or the PTO is paying for it, but our money comes predominantly from parents for dress down day, for the t-shirts, for all of the other stuff that so for me, it seems like if you're going to go on the field trip, as a parent, I don't mind paying for the busing. Like if I knew that that was part of it, I wouldn't mind that, because then the other money could be used for some other things that we might want to do in the school, if that makes sense. So that's my thoughts on that right now, because I do need to let them know what we're going to do fairly soon, because they are talking about doing field trips. But that's just something the busing is expensive. It's not expensive. It's, what it is. It's $22 an hour for the driver, then $1.90 per mile. So if they're taking 5 hours, so it's like a 9 to 2 or something like that, it's 5 hours. It just adds up pretty quickly with the number of buses that we have. So that's just one of the things that I'm trying to think about right now. And if anyone has any like good ideas of how they think that should go, or if they know some other way. But again, the parents are paying for it one way or the other. And the only reason that I wouldn't want to give all that money from what we've been doing is just, we've been trying to we've been doing handmade. Last year we did handmade stuff. Tahia made cakes for the teachers. We did everything. We were trying to scrounge together and make a little something out of nothing. And just using basically all of our money in one shot it's not something I want to do, because I would like to do some other things. I thought about this before too, but recently one of the women in the lunchroom had asked about the drinking fountains and whether we could have them replaced with the ones that fill up water bottles. And I had thought of that too, because kids they're not supposed to be drinking out of the water fountains, but not only the kids, but the teachers have water bottles that they fill all the time. So it would just be nice to have an upgraded something like that. That's not that expensive, but if we spend all our money on buses, then we can't even do that kind of thing until we earn more money throughout the year. So that's just the sort of thinking right now. I haven't made any decisions on that. And I'd love to hear from anyone if they have thoughts, ideas on that. You can either do it now.
Sorry, my daughter's singing in the background. So She didn't start until I unmuted.
Okay.
And so I agree with you. I'm new to all of this. I'm Kelly, everybody. And I feel that as a parent, like you're saying, if it's just up front and you've got it on there that the field trip is whatever amount and the bus is this amount, I think that people would be receptive to that. I know I agree with you that I would rather that be included there, and then monies are available for other things like the water or anything else that the school might be doing to upgrade things. I mean, HEPA filters, whatever that is. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. I'm a nurse, by the way, a nurse manager. So by nature, I'm always thinking of like all that stuff anyway. I'm all for that.
Last year I was like, can we get them all like the air purifiers? I was like, oh, we don't have enough money to do that kind of thing.
Right.
But yes.
Right. But no, I think those things are more, it's important for the kids to get to go on these field trips and do regular things again. But I do think, like you said, there's a cost to that. And I think parents would be receptive to have their kids in some normalcy.
And then the other part of that too is if the parents can't afford the busing part too, we could always step in and say like this extra amount could go to that, because I don't want kids like left behind either, because like maybe they could do a $7 field trip, but maybe not $14. So those are things that I would also like to do. So yes, if we can save some of the money, I'm not trying to like not pay out anything, but my biggest thing, and this is probably, it's like my love language, is I want to take care of people, but like in really practical, reusable ways. Like if I buy something, I'm like, can we reuse it again? Like what other things can we use it for? And like, how much use will it get? And is it like useful for people? Because for me, that's like, I'm taking care of you. This is helping. So I definitely do think that. So thank you for sharing.
Quick question,
Uh-huh.
just to make sure I understand. And so that everyone else understands, you're saying that we would take a portion of the money, so maybe 5,000 or so not the full amount that's needed,
right,
that discounts it for everyone, but then the rest of the cost would then go into whoever's paying out.
So it could be that. So it could be that we could take a lump sum and put a lump sum toward it, and then say like,
and then discount it from there.
Discount it, or we could just say, sorry, you need to pay for your own field trips because we want to do other things with the money.
I do think there's a way to do it in the middle,
right?
Like not the full amount, like not wiping everything out, but also, like you said, maybe if someone to allow a certain amount if people say they can't.
Right. And then so the other side of this point is when we gave the $250, it was just, we gave $250 to the teachers, and they couldn't just use it for anything, but we left it pretty open. And I don't really want to leave that open because that is so much for us to track. And especially like if we don't have a proper treasurer tracking the money, and they would say, oh, I'm going to use $100 of my money here, and I'm going to use $47 of my money here. And it became like a job trying to figure out how much everyone got. So that was sort of, I talked to my husband today. I was like, what if it was a lump sum? And I said to the school, like, this is what it is that you guys have to figure out how to use it. However, also, as a 501c3, we need to make sure that the money that we give the school is used for things that are appropriate for our nonprofit. Because if we give money and we don't have receipts, or it's for something like that we can't explain like how it's helpful for the school, then we get in trouble too. So that's like why all the things. So it is easier to do busing because it's like, we know it's busing, the kids were going here and we're doing that kind of thing. So I do think like if we did say $5,000 and they use part of that for the busing, it is much easier that way because that's the money for that. And then, anything over that is you guys have to figure out with the parents. And then it puts it on the school. And I don't want to be mean, like put it on the school to figure out, the $22 per hour times the $1.90 per mile. But I don't really have the time, and I can't really plan for that very well, like, and it's up to the drivers, like how far so
They determine what field trips will be to even know what that number is going to be at all.
So I think, so what happens, I think, is the teachers decide where they want to go. So then once they know
Okay.
where they want to go, we know the distance. So we'll know
Right.
basically that. And again, I think they usually probably, I'm thinking like 9 to
It's
2.
usually fairly close.
What's that?
I was saying it's usually fairly close. Like the mileage shouldn't be too much.
Right. And so like I have the breakdown of the $3,000, and it's like a couple, like Pigeon Roost Farms was like $450, I think. And I can't remember, they don't have how many buses that was. I assume that was 3 buses because I'm kind of like was doing the math in my head. But that also was 2 years ago. And I think we had 4 kindergarten classes. We have 5 kindergarten classes now. So it's just like we keep taking in more students, which is great, but then the money has to kind of keep up with that. And it's just, it's a little hard to do that. So, but if anyone else has any questions, I'm going to think about this more, and I'll probably put it out somehow for us to, once we decide how it will really go, probably Tahia and Janaea and I. But we'll put that out so everyone else knows. But again, if you have any kind of preference, or
I think Alyssa has a question.
who has,
She's like raising her hand in the corner there.
oh, okay, yeah, go ahead.
Hello, sorry. I'm a
Just
little late to the party visually. I've been here. I had a soccer game that I was at. For those of you who don't know me, I am the face behind all the newsletters you get. My name is Alyssa Lewis, and when my kiddos were younger, they were there. They're older now, so they're not there anymore. However, I was in the role of PTO president for several years. I did a term, took a break, did a term, and I also worked at this school in various capacities. So I've kind of seen things from a whole bunch of different perspectives and been involved in different ways. So I wanted to put out there because it's something that Michaela and I talked about a year ago when this was a prevalent and like top of the mind conversation, but it's not been, obviously, because there's been no field trips. But one of the other things that is at the PTO board's disposal is to be able to have Miss Smith, who is the food services director, the free and reduced lunch program. Obviously, this year everyone is getting free meals, but because of that program, it actually ties into other things within government, food security needs and healthcare. But it's also a way for us to anonymously not get that information directly from her. But if there was a family who came and said, you know what, we really want our family to participate in this trip, but we really just don't have the means to be able to do that, she's able to check that information to say, yes, this is the case for this family, and we want to be, and there's proof, so it doesn't, there's never a question of, oh, are people just asking for us to pay for their kid? Not so that it's a good faith follow-up to, as a 501c3, to be able to do that. And so that's one thing, is that there is a way to be able to get more information if you need to go a route where you're looking for gifting opportunities for families who are truly in need, especially in this time of post-pandemic and financial insecurities. So that's one thing. And then the second part is that Michaela was talking about, like, oh, we're not sure, like, with the busing, what the amount was and all of that. The PTO has never been asked to just say, hey, pay this bill for us. It's been that by classroom or grade level, a certain amount has been allocated. So it would never have been historically that it would say, okay, so kindergarten has 5 classes, so their field trip, they're going to need this many buses, so we're going to, and they're going all the way to like downtown Cosi, so we're going to pay the $800 or whatever it is for the bus. But our 3rd graders only have 4 classes instead of the 5, and they're just going like down the street, and their bus isn't going to cost as much, and their bus is like only $400, so we're just going to pay that. It's not that at all. There's equity across the board of, meeting the needs to enhance the academic part for all of the kids. So that's just a little teeny tiny history lesson as you're thinking about moving forward. How do you implement, because it is a huge financial burden to take on public transportation for a school that doesn't provide public transportation. And I think that making the decision as a board is a personal one. It's one that is in the time of post-pandemic and very different, coming off of a year and a half of the school not being able to financially build a nest egg to do those things in the same way. And it's just a matter of deciding it, working with the teachers and administrative team to say, look, this isn't for this year what we're able to do, if that's the route that is decided. But we are wanting to do this because ultimately field trips, they're fun, they enrich the curriculum of what's going on. Most often they're experiences that maybe kids wouldn't have otherwise. Not a lot of families like to go to an apple farm. I'm not one of those girls. I always went to the apple farm, but so that's just a little bit of history there as you're thinking about it and meeting as a board. And also I know there's some teachers on the meeting too, to kind of talks amongst themselves, and there may be some other brainy thing that can be come up with to enrich the curriculum and still it be equitable across the board from the funding that's available without draining the system. So that's all.
It's just like everything else, nothing is simple. There's always some sort of complexity to it. We figured it all out so far, and I think everyone's been fairly happy. But I always bug Alyssa. She's the best. She's I'm always like, why do we do this? Why do we do that? So she is a amazing resource for us to have.
It's not bugging. It's, I just happen to be in the unique position that I was in a school when it was switching from
Why do we do this? And you're like,
literally
oh.
1 year where it was 100 kids to the next year it was going to be 300 entering. And that's when our family was started at Cornerstone. So you go to that to now there's over 1,000. It's a little, and 2 buildings and up through 12th grade. So it's a little bit different. So understanding where the evolution of it is and how, you know, you can go back to some of the things that worked really well. And there's some things that just ultimately have to change, and you throw in a pandemic with that. And it's like playing Yahtzee. You just shake it and you're not sure what you're going to get when you throw it.
I know. I was like, oh yay, a pandemic now. I'm glad I decided on this. I survived the first year, so good. It's all good. Thank you for that. Yes. So again, yes, if there's teachers that have ideas on that too. And that's the biggest thing too, is I like to make sure that we're trying to be equitable to all of the classes, because everyone wants it to be fair. I want it to be fair. So it just takes a little bit more thinking and sort of planning on that. So we will figure it out. Next up is dress down day is tomorrow, like I mentioned. I've updated the pay ahead online. I do the website too. So I'm doing all the website. I've designed the website. My background is in graphic design. So the art and stuff that you see coming out, that's the stuff that I've made, and I've done the website and then the filling the orders and everything like that. So I have updated the website for dress down day. If you paid the first day, but you want to now pay ahead, it's now $19. So I'm going to try to keep up with that each dress down day. So if you get tired of paying $1 each time, that you can always go and sort of do the dress down day for the appropriate price. One other thing, then this kind of ties into, I think, what Alyssa was talking about and what we were talking about of trying to understand where we can add more value to the school too, because that's ultimately our goal, is to add value to the school so we can help the kids. Like my kids go there, that's, you know, I want to help the teachers so they can help the kids, you know, help the school, and or give the kids, you know, like things that they can use, like the new water fountains or things like that. So I do want to go and make last year I did this and I need to update it, but send out a list for the teachers for a wish list of things that they need or can use. A lot of them have their own, I don't remember the website where the teachers can go and put all the stuff up so they can get donations. And then Amazon sends all the stuff like straight to them. But a lot of teachers have that kind of stuff. And, you know, I would love it if we could help them, you know, offset some of that stuff too. Instead of having them have to pay out of their pocket or ask their family members to help donate stuff too. So I'm going to try to get a wish list made. And that way also, if anyone out there has like ties to something, like if you know, oh, like this teacher needs this thing and these people have it used, or I have some sitting around my house, they can just have that kind of thing too, where it's not like, it doesn't have to be monetary. It can be like, oh, I have it and I don't ever use it. Like I have a craft closet, which I use a lot of stuff, but you know, if I have extra stuff, I could just say it and like donate that. So I'd really like to get that sort of going too, so we can donate, again, not just money wise, but with actual donations from people with stuff they might already have. Okay. The last thing, which is a really long list here, if you're following along on the agenda, but everyone keeps asking me, and I apologize if you have emailed me and asked about volunteering, and I'm like, yes, I'm going to get back to you. I have not been ignoring those things. I just wanted to get a list together sort of, so I had my head wrapped around what our volunteering needs are, just to let you know. So instead of just saying, oh yeah, we'll have them here in the future, and then not ever really getting back to you or giving you something that you can like act upon, I wanted to sort of put it in writing. So I have it in the agenda. I might have it sent out somehow too through Alyssa or to everyone, to let everyone know sort of like what our needs are. And these can always be added on to. This is like kind of what I came up with out of my head, like the things that I know that we need. So if anyone thinks of anything else too, or if the school comes up with different needs that they need us to help them with too, that's great. But starting at the top of my list is the treasurer, because we need someone to sort of do the financial documentation, taxes. I'd really love someone that could use financial data to create budgets and opportunities sort of to save, or just opportunities for fundraisers and things like that. The fundraisers that I would like to do now, if you've seen the events, most of the events this year are going to be held off campus, like the skating party next Friday. One, because it's super fun. Two, our school is getting so big that if we have too many people, we can't fit everyone safely in the gym. We have a limit, fire safety limit. So if our event was too popular, that could be an issue. And three, it's a fundraiser too. So we get a kickback of money if we have so many students show up. So if we have, I think 200 students show up, we get half the money back from the door. So I'm not looking to like make money. It'd be great to make money, but if we're not losing money on an event going forward, we're sort of winning. So that's kind of where I am with that. So for the fundraising, the same kind of thing for fundraising. If there's a fundraiser, if it involves getting stock in and us having to disperse it, Yankee Candle doesn't do this stuff anymore, but like I was really scarred by Yankee Candle, but that kind of thing, if it's so labor intensive for people, it's just not, I don't think, worth the time and effort. Because I think in Yankee Candle, it was a big mess. We ended up owing people money. And I think we could have collected like $1 from every person and made more money with like no effort. So I'm looking for like sort of low effort to start. And then if we get more people that are interested in volunteering, then we can go higher effort. But right now it's sort of low effort. The next thing I have is an event planner or coordinator, and this can be a committee or just a person who wants to be the chair of the committee. What we have sort of like on the docket now for that, with the events that we're going to have on campus will be Trunk or Treat, the Scholastic Book Fair, which is in November. For that, we need to figure out some stuff like what room we can use, whatever our COVID protocols, how many volunteers we'll need for that, and if we can let parents in. after hours on one night, because usually it's just the kids that go in. So thinking around those kinds of things. Our winter breakfast, we're calling it our winter breakfast. So we can be more inclusive to all of our friends at the school that don't celebrate holidays in the winter. So we need someone that can help coordinate that. And this doesn't have to be one person. If there is a committee, then one person can say, I want to take the lead on trunk or treat. I want to take the lead on the book fair. I'd like to take the lead on the winter breakfast, and then sort of work that way. The last time we did the breakfast, we had a silent auction, we had decorations, and we had like a craft show. So those are 4 sort of separate things within that. So you can see how like one event gets a little bit bigger for planning that way. And then I have event planning outside of the school. So again, I have set up so far for its skate zone, but I called around some other places and I need to get back on that. But for ice skating, bowling, like an art night, anything like that, that we can go, that somebody that they do like fundraisers or events for students. I just need somebody to make some calls, figure out like what's possible, what the pricing is, and maybe we can do it or not. So a kickback coordinator or committee. The kickbacks we call are for like Amazon Smile, Coke Rewards. I think Kroger still does it, and Giant Eagle stopped. Giant Eagle stopped doing their like rewards program for your Giant Eagle card. And then the box tops for education. And we really haven't gotten much on the box tops, which is super easy now because all you have to do is scan a receipt. But again, I haven't been on top of all that. I don't know like all the information. So it's just somebody sort of getting all the information together and helping us like disseminate that. And then for the Coke rewards, it's just like the caps and stuff. Someone simply entering them. It's still right here. This is my personal, I have a problem with Diet Coke, I know. So this is my bag of caps that needs entered. And I already entered a bag like that a while ago. So even if somebody can just, all you do is with your phone, take a picture of the caps, and sometimes you have to fix a letter or two, and then that's it. It's not a ton of money, but it adds up sort of as you go. So somebody to do that. A hospitality coordinator or committee. For hospitality, we're looking more for teacher appreciation and getting things to help the teachers. I'd love to be able to do, they called happy carts for the teachers. I'd love to be able to do that for the teachers like monthly, and not anything super extravagant, but just, coffee and donuts or some like little snack to show that we appreciate them. And we do parent teacher conferences. We usually get them a lunch, and teacher appreciation week. We usually do something for that. Again, our school has grown. It gets very expensive to do these kinds of things. So with the hospitality coordinator, if you're interested in doing something like that, we'd also be looking for just donations from people. So like getting a list together and saying, we need 24 packs of soda, and having people sign up and bring certain things. So we're not spending out of all of the PTO funds all the time. And I did meet someone, I don't know if they're part of the meeting. I have your number or your name still written down, about cooking, or they're a chef, and being able to like cook for the teachers too, like having someone do that. Also great. So if you have any kind of skills like that, if you bake something like that, anything like that that can help us would be great. And then just volunteers, like for any of the events, the trunk or treat, the book fair, the breakfast. We also help with field day to like get volunteers for the teachers to help them with field day. Just manpower, because even the ice cream social we had a lot of teacher help. It's traditionally the teachers, all the teachers come, and we had a lot of the teachers help again, because we didn't really have a lot of connections from the previous year. And there was still like, there's still a lot to do, and there was still a lot of cleanup and stuff like that. So we can use volunteers at pretty much any time for that. But having Janae here now, she'll be able to get some of that information together and kind of really understand the needs, and that then we can kind of get that out. So I'm super excited that she's here, but also if any of that stuff sounds like something that you would like to do, like if you like event planning, and you don't have to say, I want to do it for all of it, but hey, I wouldn't mind helping with trunk or treat. Like it's fine. You don't have to commit to like every single thing. If we have enough people that are interested in it, then it's not going to be too much work for any one person. And we'll still be here too to help and help plan and stuff like that. It's just having more people plan and having more voices, because my voice, I'm introverted by nature. I don't go out a lot. Events sometimes overwhelm me. So I'm not the best planner, I don't think, because I don't get super excited about those things. So having people that are super excited about that stuff too also would be like really, really helpful. I think that's all I have on all of my lists here. Let me see here. I'm sorry you keep getting kicked off the Zoom call. I promise I'm not kicking you off to you if you're still on here listening. And I don't see any notes on YouTube. Does anyone have any questions? I can open the floor for any questions, any comments, concerns. Help in the school.
Hey, Michaela, it's Janaea.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, what if, and I'm just throwing this out there, I already told you, I just kind of think of stuff and say it.
Sure.
What if for certain events we had different grades kind of sponsor those events? So like for trunk or treat, we could do a certain grade and then, get parents to volunteer from that grade. And that way it's not so overwhelming on the parents as well. What if we did something like that?
I love that idea. Yep. I'm writing it down now here in a minute.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that too. And that actually ties into something we talked about last year that we might potentially be able to actually do this year. We talked about at some point having room parents again. But obviously it was COVID, no one was in the school, but that may help with then forming committees if at least one parent per classroom has a relationship with the teacher. So
And let me reach out to Mr. Leone and the school for the room parent thing, because I don't think we've talked about it for a while. And
okay.
just,
I mean, like I said, it was brief last year and it
No,
was nothing was
I
happening.
completely
at
agree.
all.
And I've been thinking about that too, like, because a lot of people do want to volunteer, and it is a lot easier to say, oh, I want to volunteer in my kids' class, because yeah.
And then they have a direct relationship with that one teacher. So even if we can't get a hold of the teacher, we can get a hold of that parent.
Right.
They can help what she's talking about with being sponsored by grades. You can get those parents together on their own committee. And it seems like delegating would be easier. So,
and having other people have knowledge, like I feel like there's two of us that have all the knowledge, and I have a lot of the knowledge because I've acquired it. I've gone looking for it, digging for it. So having other people being able to say, yes, this, and like, and I don't mind answering emails. Like I've answered emails about whatever, like if you have a question about t-shirts or anything like that, it's just, if there's other people to answer the questions, it's a lot easier. And then the parents don't have to search for me, wherever I'm at around the school or whatever, for that kind of thing. But no, and that's another thing with the volunteering too, is we talked about having some of the older students being able to volunteer too, because if they're older and they need volunteer opportunities, we're working mostly with our K-7 school right now, because the annex isn't doing dress down day. And that's a big part of where the money comes in from for us to do things. And so we're working on ways for them to get funding as well, so we can help them. So most of the stuff that we're talking about is like K-7. All the events are K-12. But when we're talking about money and stuff like that, from right now, we're kind of talking more about K through 7. And we'll make that really clear when any of the decisions are made or about money and things like that. But yes, I'm going to add that to my list here about volunteering for each grade. And if you have any other ideas like that, guys, feel free to email us, Cornerstone Academy PTO@gmail.com. I usually keep a list somewhere of the ideas if I haven't already had it like written down somewhere, and I'll bring them back up, and we can talk about them, because I don't have all the ideas, and so many people have so many better ideas. So I'm totally open to all of that. Anyone else have anything else to say? If not, we can. I mean, it's under an hour. Like, I'm fairly shocked at that, because I feel like I talked forever. Or if you have any questions about kind of the way things work, or like, I know there's some questions about, I'm always trying to answer questions for people, but it seems like the answer should be this, but there's this long line of like, well, this causes this, causes this, causes this. So a lot of the things that seem kind of simple tend to be a little bit bigger than we really understand. So anytime, email me. Tahia and I are on top of the email, so we'll help you any way we can, and bring those ideas to us, and we'll get them going. And come to the skate party next Friday at Skate Zone 71. I bought roller skates during the pandemic because I used to like roller skating as a child. So you can see me try to roller skate. I tried on my road last year and I was like, I'm going to die. So
I haven't done it in so many years. I'm probably going to die too. And both of my kids are going to be very excited. So
they're so excited. I'm like, okay.
But we need some nurses for like the broken ankles and arms and wrists. Hopefully none of that happens.
We have PTO insurance, and then I think the place has insurance too. So I think we should be covered. Roller skating is covered too. I went through all of it, so we should be good. All right. Well, if
Kelly has a question.
Okay. Oh yeah, go ahead.
2 things. So I really liked, I didn't get to say this before, the idea about the rooms. I'm a new mom to Cornerstone. I mean, we did virtual last year. And so I know selfishly, I think that that's a great idea, because you do want to be involved, but sometimes you want to be involved where it directly affects your child. And I think that whoever brought that, I don't know who brought up the idea, but I think that's great. Like, it's one thing to volunteer, but then it's one thing to volunteer and you know that it's in your child's room or whatever, if that makes sense.
Right.
So I think that's pretty cool. Secondly, as far as all of you, what are your roles again? So you are the president. I don't know if I missed who's what.
There's only now 3 of us. There were only 2 of us before. So until today. So I am the president.
Okay.
Tahia is the recording secretary. I remember that the first time. Usually.
Technically it's recording secretary, but since it's been both of us, it's just whatever needs to be done.
Yes.
I'm the official helper.
Right.
Okay.
And then Janaea is now going to be the vice president.
Okay. And it was okay as someone that doesn't know what I would like to do yet to be on this meeting. That was not inappropriate, correct?
Oh no, everyone.
Okay.
No.
I started.
Everyone know this meeting was for, I like to have it so people can talk if they want to talk, like if we were in the same room. But I know some people don't like that, and it's like easier just to stream it to YouTube. So other people can watch it again through YouTube, and I don't have to put it on the website. So no, everyone is welcome on the Zoom meeting if y'all want to come. That's no problem. You don't have to have your cameras turned on. It's fine. I'm here because you want to see someone, right, talking. So yep. And so the open board positions we have technically are the treasurer, the communications secretary position, which I'm not as worried about because again, I'm a designer, so I do all this stuff. So if somebody wants to do that position, I feel bad for you if you're not a designer, because I'm going to be real nitpicky. And then That's the only thing that I'm really picky about. So, and I'm doing it right now, and that's fine. And if people take all the other stuff off my plate, it's really not a big deal. I'm really most like would love to find a treasurer. And then there's a member at large is another position, which is sort of like sort of do it all. I think that's what Tahia started out as. And I was like, no, you should be we should give you a bigger title.
Yeah, I
Member
think,
at
is it member at large? Just like, yes, I agree. No, I don't agree. What do you need help with? So if you're not,
It's just
wanting
a
to
board
commit,
position. It's
yeah.
a board position that, yeah, you can kind of help with whatever you want to help with or like where you're needed. We usually do also have a school liaison. That was Nurse Krista last year and Miss S, and both of them have left. So I do need to talk to the school and see if they're going to appoint someone to be the school liaison person. So those would be the board positions. The other ones are just sort of the committee, sort of made up committees that I think that we could use and that would be nice going forward. So yes, if you see, I don't know, Kelly, I see you all the time and I'm
You're gonna be sick of me.
done.
I can help with broken bones, right?
Oh yeah, I forgot. Yes, that's fine. We got a nurse. We got a nurse now. It's fine. Come skating and bring all the Band-Aids. All right. Well, if there's no other questions, I'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting. And let's see, 8 o'clock exactly. Oh, look at that. Just pat myself on the back for that. Thank you so much, everyone. And we'll see you next month, October 7th, also at 7 p.m. We're just going to do Zoom again until it becomes like maybe not so pandemic-y out there. Okay.